seriousness, if it does, we're gonna have a lot of soup to eat. I definitely don't believe in panic buying and all that, but I definitely believe in being prepared. So you guys know several years ago, my family came out with the Griffith's cookbook, which we are no longer selling, but we do have a digital online version of this beautiful cookbook. Something that I have done my whole life is every August, September, is I have helped my family bottle peaches, tomatoes, pickles, a lot of things. But something I've never done is bottle soup. So just the other day I had a really bad cold and Jared went and bought me a Campbell's chicken vegetable soup, which it was good. It hit the spot when I needed it. This is something that I cook all of the time. And even if I don't make like a big pot of soup, I will put gotta get your Cheetos. I will put this, drain the broth, but use it for something else, and even put it over like rice. It's just a staple in our household, and this is something I really wanted to do this year. So I've never done it before, but I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and you know if you watch YouTube videos, you become a professional. So let's get started.
Oh, that was so good!
Did I do good?
Yes, you got on the first try!
But today I'm going to be canning in my favorite lounge outfit.
I need Cheetos.
Okay, go ask Calvin. He has the whole bag. We're still on one take.
But today I'm going to be canning in my favorite outfit. This is from Bali brand, my loungewear company. So if you guys need any amazing loungewear pieces, don't forget to check that out in the description. We are not going to be able to make a new order for fall and winter. So if you want any gifts for yourself or someone else, check it out right now. So I've already cut up all of the ingredients that I want. I'm sure if you wanted to add more veggies to it or no meat, have at it. I've salt and peppered everything really well. I've watched many YouTube videos and everyone uses their hands, especially with the raw meat, and I'm like, I can't do it. So I have a glove to help me. So I'm gonna start with the beef, and I don't know how full I'm going to do each thing just yet, so I'm sure this will be like a trial and error. I really believe in canning and stocking up on things that you use. I think when you hear the word food storage, people get so overwhelmed, and it's like buy what you eat and then eat what you buy. I love me some onion. I had so much fun cutting all of this up this morning too. It took me a while to cut it all up. So I can already tell the next time well, no, maybe that's about right. I don't really do a ton of potatoes. Oh, it looks so beautiful already! I remember my dad all the time would go to the thrift store and he would buy used ball jars. They were literally like $1 for a whole entire pack. You can't find that right now. And they're so expensive, it's wild. Growing up, it was like, you never throw these away. That's probably...
Because you gotta get water in there, right?
Yeah, so you need water. Next time I'll probably add just a little bit less of meat, but for that jar, I think that's okay.
Do you think that's too many carrots?
I know that the kids eat more carrots than anything in beef stew, so that's why I want to add more carrots and less meat. I've watched several videos. Most of the videos I've watched, people put in the raw beef. Some people, I'm sure you can cook it and then do it, but when you put this in the pressure cooker, it's gonna cook it all. And then we don't really eat that many of the potatoes. I know Jared hardly eats the potatoes, the kids hardly eat the potatoes, so that's why I am catering it to what my family's gonna eat. And a lot of people, I don't think it matters how you organize it. I've seen people put the onions in last. I wanted the onions to be touching the meat. I feel like exactly how I wanted to do it. I think this is gonna be so great. I'm loving this. Can I just do this full time for a living? Make people beef stew. peppered the meat really well, and then I salted everything else. Before I add the water, I'm just gonna go ahead and just put a little more salt and pepper just on the top, because when that water goes on, it'll kind of bring it all down. My parents have been canning their whole entire life, and I called them and I said, I'm so confused. Do I add hot water to my soup before I pressure cook them, or cold water? Does it matter? The videos that I've watched, it appears that everyone's adding hot water, and the response that I got was it probably doesn't matter because it's gonna cook to temperature anyway in the pressure cooker. But I just wanted to be safe. I figured it's not gonna hurt, so I boiled the water, and I'm going to go ahead and fill all of the jars with water, and you need to leave about an inch space, so I'm gonna just leave it right under this lip. Something that is new to me is a bubbler. Bring all of the water so there's no bubbles, so you can kind of put it down there and make sure the water gets through the whole thing. So hopefully I didn't fill these too full. That looks awesome. So now that everything is filled with water, first off, doesn't it look beautiful? It's so beautiful. I've seen people do this with water or vinegar. I'm going to take a clean cloth and get some vinegar and wipe the edges, or first the top. So I'm gonna take the vinegar, wipe that top rim, and then around it, just so it's nice and wiped down and prepped for me to put my clean and sanitized lids and caps on. But be careful, we've got a motorcyclist in here. This was perfect. So I just ordered from Costco a really large bag of carrots, potatoes, and then 2 things of stew meat, and I got 2 of each, and so one of those packs filled this. There's a little bit leftover potatoes and carrots that I cut up. So after Jared and I get this first batch in the pressure cooker, I will start cutting up the second bag of everything and getting ready to do our next batch. This is not a necessary tool. I've never seen any of my family members use it, but I like it. It came in a canning tool kit. It's magnetic, so you don't have to really like touch that rim, which I like. And then when screwing on the lids, you only do it finger tight, or like not very, you don't need to go crazy tightening these, just put it on.
Because the pressure cooker will tighten it.
Yeah.
Unlike Ellie, I did not grow up canning fruits and juice, but we did do this last year, so I just need to refresh my memory with the canner right here. The next step is to put 2 to 3 inches of water in the base for the cans to sit on. Because I had to refresh my memory on YouTube about this, I love that we're making a video about it, so we can go back and watch exactly how we do it again. Now that we've got water in the pressure cooker, we take the canning or cooking rack and place it lip side down for all of the cans to rest on. Bottoms up. I think it's pretty cool that we're able to do this. Like, I think future Ellie and Jared are gonna be really grateful that we're doing this right now, because it's right there, it's easy. We have food prepared in case of an emergency or just when we're hungry.
It is more expensive and a little overwhelming getting started, but after you do it the first year, it goes pretty seamless. And how many nights do I come home and I'm like, what are we gonna make for dinner? I'll grab that. If you have a baby, you grab it, you eat it.
And these will last for a long time too.
What would I do without you?
Well, Don't say that yet and wait till it's done. One of the most important things is making sure that the seal is even. What you do is you put the lid on.
Someone gave a really good tip the other day that you put one notch to one notch, but I don't know what notch they were talking about.
Well,
oh yeah, the arrow to the notch.
so you start off just to the right of the notch because these have to come over and latch on right there, and then that will line up. But this lip right here needs to be even all the way around. So in order to do that is you kind of go opposite sides at a time and hand tighten them down, and then just go all the way around until you have an even seal across the whole thing. So I'm gonna take the next 35 minutes and make sure it's perfectly even. This is where things start to get nerve-wracking for me. So I have the lid on, it's sealed, and now we turn on the burner to high heat for about 10 minutes until all the air has been pushed out and there's no more steam that comes out of the air regulator. Here we go. High heat, we got fire. We keep an eye on this guy right here, and when it stops steaming, we're good to go. So we still have some steam. You can see that it's steaming quite a bit. Once that steam is done, we will put this pressure regulator on, and because we're above 1,000 feet in elevation, we'll use the 15-pound weight on there, and then it'll start jiggling around when it's starting to pressurize.
So while Jared was doing that, I tidied up the kitchen, sanitized the countertops, re-washed all of my tools, and re-chopped the next batch to go. So everything is chopped, salt and peppered, and ready to go for the next batch. This was kind of always intense growing up.
This should start going up eventually. And when that starts to jiggle over here, we start our time. So because we are using quart jars, the processing time is actually 90 minutes. Pints will typically use 75 minutes for this particular food. Every recipe varies with processing time. And I'm getting that information from our All-American Pressure Cooker Guide and from YouTube. There's an awesome video that we've been watching going step by step with this. But be sure to consult the recipe and the guides for anything that you guys are doing because it'll be different. Right now we have a little bit of a balancing act. We're trying to keep this at around 15 pounds of pressure. This guy is dancing around, and we really only want him to be dancing 1 to 4 times per minute. I think we have it figured out, and the cool thing about this is it's science. This is literally what you will learn in science class. PV equals nRT. The science for pressure and volume and temperature, and how they're all indirectly or directly related. We're adjusting the temperature, that changes the pressure, and the volume is constant. So it's just cool to see that. We got our temperature down, so our pressure is right around 15 pounds. And now, this is not dancing near as much as it was before because the temperature's down. It's not releasing all that pressure. Our temperature, we're about halfway. So we went from high heat to medium heat to get to where our pressure needs to be. 90 minutes later, what we do now is we turn off the heat and we let it depressurize on its own.
Usually a few minutes.
We're good to go.
So then once that hits 0, then you can take the weight off, and then you can open this up
and take our freshly canned beef stew out!
Yes! I'm going to put them all here. I'll lay like a little towel over it and let them cool off naturally on their own. And then tonight we are actually going to open one up and eat one just to see what we think, and so I can take some notes because I don't want to forget anything. So I have notes so that next year when we do this, I will know what I want to do a little differently. Some people put beef broth in it rather than just water, but I figured the water is going to turn into broth because of the beef that's in there. So if we want more flavor, next year maybe I'll add a little bit of like bouillon to it or a little bit of broth mixed with water to it. We'll just see how it tastes.
Once the pressure cooker has depressurized or lost all of its pressure, we will take off the pressure weight. And now we let it sit for 2 minutes until we take the lid off. Part of this is when you open it, to open it away from you so you don't get any steam on you. Not too shabby.
Smells good.
Okay, here goes
I can
nothing.
smell it.
Oh my gosh! Over there, over there. Oh, you got a towel right here? Ellie, that looks so amazing.
So I'm not even gonna touch them. I'll at least like, you know, dab that water off. But I'm not gonna unscrew anything. I'm gonna let them cool down. And once they're all the way cooled down, then I will grab a cloth and clean the outside of them with just like with water, you know, to make sure they're nice and clean before I put them away.
Before, after. Ellie, it looks so good.
So I went and got the kids some cake so we could have some soup and cake for dinner. I just opened up one of these because I thought we have to try some tonight. I wanted to see how the meat looked, how it cooked up. It is so tender. Yes, I did say cake. It is so tender. Oh my gosh. So I've got potato, onion, carrot,
First taste test.
beef. It smells amazing. And it tastes really, really good. There's enough salt and pepper in there. I do think next year I'll add a little bit of broth. Just a little bit. Or just a little bit of like bouillon. It is very flavorful. There's like so good. Everything's cooked perfectly. It's so hearty, so filling. It's everything I wanted.
Do you see that?
It is 2:30 in the morning and I just took out the last batch of stew. Oh, did you hear that pop? That means it's ready.
This is what I just did. And Penny has been my partner this evening when everyone went to bed.
Now it's time for me to go to sleep.
It took Jared and I all day. When you are working in the kitchen, especially canning, plan on it being a full day of work and then a full day of prep. I'm glad I didn't prep and work in the same day. The day before, I had delivered everything I needed to buy, and then I went out into the store and bought what I needed. Jared and I had a lot of fun together, and I wouldn't say Jared had fun if he really didn't. All day, we both kept telling each other how much fun we were having and how fulfilling this is. So we canned 21 quarts of beef stew. We tried it for the first time, it was great. I gave a quart to my mom, Sister Julie that just had a baby. Today is Sunday and we just drove 8 hours in the car to go see her for 2 hours. But I really had to see that baby. That video is coming out as well really soon, but we gave her a jar as well. I want to show you where I store them. I've had a lot of questions on Instagram. So this is our pantry, and I always have a section in my pantry for kind of like long-term food storage or cans. So this is what I bottled last year. Look how beautiful those tomatoes are. I always put this in soups as well or whatever. We've already eaten up several, but this winter we'll probably go through the rest of them. This is where we will store the soup, and then the jars that we are not using I have stored up here. But if you don't have room in your pantry, you can store them in your garage. That's probably where most people store them, is like a garage or a closet. And then before you sanitize them. Tommy will not go to bed. I'm gonna lose my mind right now. I'm done in the kitchen. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Jared and I just really enjoyed making the video, really enjoyed making the food, and we cannot wait for next year when we are in our new house and we have so much more space in the kitchen. We are going to be doing like peaches, tomatoes, soup, and more. So see you guys next time. Bye.